everyone. Good morning to everybody in the UK, and good afternoon, good evening to other parts of the world. Gainon, I see you have joined. Just stay there. I will send you a request once you are ready. We'll just wait. I've got your request too. I'll keep that. We'll just wait for a few more people to come in. And hi Rashmi, how are you? We'll just put on as to hi Preeta. Preeta, you have your own live today in some time. All the best for that. Hi Aditi, hi Sachin. And this is what our session is going to be all about. Hi Kajal. And there's Preeti. Sachin, hope some more movies are being watched in these times. Just give a couple of minutes and then we shall begin. And there's Rajesh too. And Malvika. I feel very nice when I see all these familiar names coming up session after session, and that gives me at least some amount of hope that sessions are fine. Hi Gauri. Oh, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids trilogy completed. My God, nice. I still remember the first days when this movie was first released. Extremely innovative idea. Good old days. Hi Raki, hi Govind. Nice. Okay, great. I think Gauri, it's nice to see you too. It's been a very long time. I hope everybody is fine at home. Hi Neha. Govind, I'm fine, thank you. I hope everybody's fine at your end too. Okay. So great. So let me begin. My name is Amit Sangekar. माझं नाव आहे अमित सांगेकर. मेरा नाम है अमित सांगेकर. Welcome to Beyond Reading with You, Season 3, Session 12, where we do poetry reading and more. It's been a long run now this is the 38th episode, if I have to count it from Season 1. And thanks to you all, it's been going fine. I've always been fascinated by people who have wanted to do something, or who have had the acumen, the will, the fire in the belly, the desire to start something on their own. I enjoy speaking to them about their ideas, their thoughts, their motivations, their challenges, to get an insight into their psyche. One of the poems which I've always found extremely apt for an entrepreneurial spirit, I do not know if you all will agree with it, but it's the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. And it goes like this. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for the doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of a distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. Uh, for me, it reflects the entrepreneurial spirit to a very, very, very strong extent. Uh, what makes somebody start something on their own? What challenges do they encounter? How does one keep going? Is at the end of it, is it all worth your efforts? And what is success? Uh, we are going to try and get a perspective on some of these questions from somebody extremely young. I'm going to first add him and then I will introduce him to you. So give me a minute. Let's see. I have. Hi, Pranav. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm just going to ask somebody to give us a thumbs up if they can hear both of us clearly. We have had issues of echoes and
Yep.
all before, so we'll just take that. I think the headphones are a good thing, which they should help. Let's see. I think, okay, Rajesh is fine.
My screen. Okay, now I can see. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Pratap. Thanks, everybody. Okay, great. So, friends, this is Pranav. I'm not going to venture too much into explaining about Pranav. That we'll get to know as we discuss. But one thing I want to say about, he started exploring his business ideas close to about when 16, 17, if I should say, times when people are thinking
Yeah.
about which clothes to buy, what other stuff, fun stuff to do. The definition of fun for him has been extremely different. He was awarded the Dare to Dream honor, which is given to early stages with high potential at the OMPEG's annual grand event in 2017. Today, his venture, which we will speak about today, Gainon, has evolved into India's first loyalty super app that offers instant rewards on every payment at 100 plus leading brands across India. Now, we will speak a lot about it, but first, Pranav, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the session and sharing your views here.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me. In fact, it's a pleasure to be here and speak with everyone who's joining us today.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to tell people also that there is a possibility that there could be a lag between the video and the audio, which I saw just now. So don't mind it. The video currently is fine, and I can still hear Pranav very clearly. Okay, Pranav. So growing up, tell us about both your life in India as well as in UK. How was it? And when I say growing up, I'm still
Yes.
speaking about. I mean, this is a very short span of your life which we're still speaking about. Okay.
Yeah, so I think when you say growing up, probably I was in India, in Pune actually, till about I was 6 years old.
Okay.
So I went to school here, and I'd grown up really in India itself. So I moved over when I was 6 years old to the UK, new environment, new school.
Okay.
It was a completely different experience for all of us. So I think definitely I saw big differences, especially in the education system, which made me want to stay in the UK
Okay.
rather than come back to India when I was small. Because I felt that in India, the way the education system worked was pretty standard, right? It was structured. You have to learn how it is in the book. Whereas in the UK, they sort of promoted more research based learning.
Okay.
So you could go out, you could, you learn a topic, and then they'll ask you to do some more research around it, give you some real life problems. So I thought that kind of education was more suited for me.
Okay.
And definitely, I think moving from India to UK helped me become more independent. If you saw me when I was in India, a small 6-year-old boy, timid, probably wouldn't do anything at all outside of going to school and coming back home. So, I think when I came to UK, that completely changed. I started becoming more outgoing. I was playing football. I was captain of my football team in Bracknell.
Okay.
So I started doing more sports, and also I think it helped me take bolder steps when it came to my overall growth.
Okay.
And I have one example or story of it. When I
Okay.
was in my year 11,
Mm-hmm.
that's if you compare it to India standard, that's your 10th standard.
10th,
So it's a
yeah.
pretty important year
Yes.
of your life. So I remember going into the parents' evening session, right before my exams,
Okay.
and over there the teachers were saying that when he was in year 8 or year 9, he was a or A star student. So that's probably like the top 10% of the class, I would say.
Okay.
But now he's at a B or a C level, which is like a just kind of okay result.
Okay.
And I remember sort of thinking about it and what was going wrong. And at that point, I remember after a few days going to my head of year and telling him, Sir, I'm not going to be coming to school for the next 3 months until the exam start. And
Okay.
he looked at me absolutely shocked. He was like, what's going on with this boy? He's already struggling and he's saying now he won't come to school. Uh, and I said, yeah, well, I'm not going to be coming to school. I'm going to study from home, and take it forward from there.
Okay.
And they tried to sort of tell me, no, you have to come to school, you'll otherwise fail, your grades would go down even more. But I didn't let anything affect me. I went
This,
home,
let me get
studied
this
from
straight. This
home.
this was solely your decision.
Absolutely, this was
Okay.
not allowed in school. Actually, it was not allowed. That's why
Okay.
they were trying to tell me, if you
Okay.
if you leave, we'll not let you come to do your exams and all
Right.
of that.
Right.
But I
Right.
I, I made my mind up and I said, look, I'm going to be staying at home and I'm going to be studying at home as well,
Okay.
for 3 months. And I don't encourage students to do that as well, because it's a bad example. But I think it was something I definitely felt from myself, and I stayed at home, did it. For the teachers who were predicting me a C grade, I
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting an A or an A star. And at that point, I knew that I'm a self learner. I'm someone who can sort of take those decisions and know what's right for me, and what's,
Okay.
I can say, what's not working out.
Pretty
So I think that
interesting.
was the first big stage where I found out that that independence has come into my
Okay.
life.
So now you're going to find my
Yeah.
next question very repetitive and it may happen during our course of conversation. What was your parents' reaction at this particular decision?
I think overall the fact that I had moved down from A or an A star to C, they were already quite stressed out about that. So
Okay.
when I told them that I'm going to take this step, they were like, okay, we'll just let him do what he wants, and see what happens. It
Okay.
was kind of getting to a stage where they said, okay, if he thinks he can do better this way, then they were ready to support me.
Okay.
And I went in sort of just telling them that this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to listen to what you tell me. So,
Okay.
and eventually it got to a point where every single student in the school wanted to stay home, and they wanted to uh, just do everything from home. And
From
the
home.
school was just going around and saying it's not
Right.
allowed. He's got some personal emergency, so he has to stay
Has to
home.
stay home. But no, really glad that worked well for you. And I think it comes to my next question but you have possibly kind of really answered it. When did you first kind of decide that you will not follow a traditional path of some kind of a pre-decided profession and do something on your own?
Yeah, so I think this is something that was grown into me from my school again.
Okay.
When I was a bit younger than that, not year 11,
Okay.
year 9, I that's when I first started to learn about business in school. We had business lessons, and they used to encourage us with case studies, right?
Okay.
So we had a normal news session every 5 minutes at the start of the lesson, and they would show us companies that were trying to expand into new countries, or they were trying new projects. And they said, if you were the CEO of this company,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do? What would be the decisions you would make? So I think at that point my curiosity started building around the whole starting up your own company, and making those decisions. So I think that is probably when I started to grow that awareness and curiosity around business and starting up my own thing. Eventually, all of our teachers as well were past entrepreneurs. They had their own businesses. They were
Right.
coming in to teach us now. So they also helped me. I went to them and said, hey, I have some ideas, can you look through it, can you tell me what I should do? So they also guided me towards the right uh, path, I would say.
Okay.
So I think definitely it started off in school, being encouraged to think about
Right.
ideas and
Right.
uh, real life case studies. That's really what grew my
I
interest.
think that is where, and you mentioned this at the beginning, that the difference in the education systems which kind of nurtures that kind of thinking process. I presume
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is what a lot of people possibly missed, and rather than take an informed decision of getting into a venture at somewhere later in their life, they end up just trying it out for the sake of trying, and rather than not knowing something about it. But tell me, what were your initial
Yeah.
ideas of business like? I mean, what all did you want to do really?
So, I think with every 16 or 17-year-old, you'll have a bunch of ideas. You'll think, oh, this is nice, this is
Yeah.
nice, this is nice. So, uh, I had a lot of ideas, to be honest. If
Okay.
if if I tell you right now, and in fact, I still get a lot of ideas today. And you need that someone senior to just say, look, uh, you've got a lot of ideas, but this probably would be the best one you go with. So
Yeah.
when I started out, it was like an airline portal with a difference. So the
Okay.
problem that I'd realized was when you fly, your prices keep changing when you're about to book the flight, right? What
Correct.
happens is you keep looking, and eventually it grows. It might be 20 pounds more, 30 pounds more, and eventually you buy for like probably 100 pounds above the ticket what you saw initially.
Correct.
So I thought this is a problem to be solved, where you could essentially say, I want to book a ticket from London to Mumbai between this price range, and the system would automatically book it,
Okay.
right? And that was the initial idea, if you'd like. Uh, it turned out that airlines were not too keen on the model because it was going through their margins. So
Correct.
eventually, what we had to do was adapt it, and we always had a plan B for that business plan,
Okay.
which was giving luxury or premium experiences for economy prices. And that idea was really centered around India.
Okay.
And we started out by giving helicopter and private jet rides for as little as 5,000 rupees, which is
Okay.
about 50, 55 pounds, right? And it was a experience that you'd probably never get. Probably the top 5% would get in the world, but now we were giving it for a more affordable price.
Right.
Um, the next step of this was really to take helicopter rides from just a tour of Mumbai or Pune to actually traveling from these traffic heavy cities, right? We used
Interesting.
to spend
Okay.
4 hours. We used to spend about 4 or 5 hours in traffic between Pune and Mumbai. So I thought, what if we can get a helicopter to go from Pune to Mumbai and drop me there in 40 minutes and still be affordable for people?
Okay.
So that was the idea, and what we really pushed forward with. Then eventually it turned out at some point, a company out of America, I won't say the name, a
Yeah.
company out of America came in raising over $100 million for the same idea. And
Wow.
we thought, okay, if they've already got the money, then why do we go ahead and try and compete with them? So I called them up and I said, hey, you've got this idea, it's fantastic. I tried doing this, or I want to build the same product, but I will be your smartest and best distributor of your tickets. You have to give me a commission for every ticket I sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they agreed because they were new, they wanted to get some customers.
Okay.
So then the whole model of Gainon started to come about,
Okay.
because my initial idea was you book a ticket on one of these flights
Right.
and you earn some cash back.
Hmm.
And then I thought, okay, why is it that I'm only restricting it to an airline, or a flight between Mumbai and Pune?
Why not
There's so
expand
many
it?
more
Hmm.
things that I do that I'd like to earn back on. And
Correct.
then one thing led to another, and
Okay.
we today have onboarded 100 of the most leading brands in India.
Okay.
And
So
every time you pay there,
yeah.
you'll earn.
So before we get into the details of Gain On, I still want to go back to some of your parts of your journey. When you first told at home that I'm not going to pursue any kind of a traditional profession, forget traditional, even a non-traditional profession as such, but I'm going to start something on my own. One is their reaction, and how did you convince them really?
So I think something that helped me was the fact that I started in school. So it was not at a stage where I was saying, "Look, I'm moving away from my traditional path or career to doing this." It was more of convincing them that, anyways, I'm in school. What's the worst that can happen? It's not going to work out, and I do my normal job
Hmm.
as it is. So I think that was the kind of tone that I went with,
Okay.
and luckily I think my parents were also quite supportive of that, and they were saying, okay, well, let's see what happens, because they themselves have never been in a business background, they've never
Right.
started a business themselves. So of course they were also surprised, and they were thinking, okay, what's going to happen, but they were ready to sort of give me that initial push, if you like, to, okay, let's see what happens. And As I say, one thing led to another, and here
Okay.
we are.
Okay. So when you finally decided that, okay, this is actually now, this is going to happen now. So what were your kind of initial challenges during those times in terms of even starting off?
Okay, so you mean when I actually decided that, oh, I'm going to start it now? What
Yes,
what
yes.
was the challenges?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely, I think the first challenge I would say is the lack of experience, because I was coming in as a schoolboy, going into this world of business, quite naive, right? And if you go in as a young boy with some ideas, they'll listen to you but not take you seriously. So I think that was the first point where I was sort of held back, and I had to counter it myself. I had to go in and pitch ideas
Yeah.
that actually made sense to a lot of people, and I started to learn more and more about business and how it works. And I think that eventually helped me overall grow as well to where I
Okay.
am today. The second thing I learned is about intentions, right? The challenges of intention.
Okay.
When we first raised money for our company, it turned out that there were people who supported us. But the reason they supported us was actually because they had an interest in getting some of that money for themselves. So, learning small things like that, where we first raised the money, then it was almost like a what we can say, an unspoken rule that I had to go and work with them, right? And when we did started collaborating with them, it turned out that majority, a lot of money was going to them for doing very little work. So that was one
Interesting.
intention that we also found out very early on, that people may seem or look like they're trying to help you, but you need to make sure that they really are helping you,
Yeah.
and not looking out for some other thing.
So from kind of
Third
their
thing, again
perspective, it's
related.
kind of their return on investment is what they were all looking for even before anything started. So I mean, yeah,
Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. It's a return on interest even. It's not
Interest.
even an investment.
Correct.
At that point it was just an interest of saying, okay, he's a young boy, let's see what
Yeah,
happens. So
yeah.
I think that's another thing. Probably third thing also is more something I learned after a few months of starting. It's There's a group of people in this startup ecosystem. No, I'm not saying everyone is like that, but they normally pose as an investor or someone with great knowledge. They'll
Okay.
come on and speak on stages, and they'll invite such young startups, especially new ones, and they'll invite them saying, we're interested in helping you, or finding you some investment. And the only agenda they have is to rip apart that entrepreneur's idea and his beliefs in it. So I was quite shocked the first time I actually saw that happen.
Right.
Luckily, I had one of my teammate along with me, and mind you, I'm there's a difference between constructive feedback, where you're sort of given logical reasons for why your plan is not
Correct.
correct,
Yeah, yeah.
but this is something completely different. They're giving pointless reasons for you to sort of forget about your idea, or saying, I'd never do this. In fact, I remember I went in with my teammate who had, I think, over 15 years experience in the travel domain at that point.
Okay. Okay.
And we sat down in front of this very senior person, and he like asked us clearly, why would you start a company around airlines? And we
Okay.
both just sort of thought for a minute, and we said, why not? Because some of the best businesses in this world have been built around airlines, like Make My Trip, Yatra. You can name a
Correct.
lot of them.
True.
So then he said, no, 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 I'd never do that, because airlines crash a lot. You
Okay.
should do something like me. Look at my metrics, look at my business. So that session, it turned out to be something more of where he was trying to prove to us that uh, what you're doing is not good, and what I'm doing is good.
Yeah.
And those kind of sessions are, eventually I learned, people just trying uh, to rip those entrepreneurs apart. And it does happen in this industry, unfortunately. So uh, I think definitely mentors who came along the way helped me avoid these people who are not coming in with the right interest,
Right.
and go towards those who really want to help me and
Yeah.
progress this idea.
I think the concept of incubation of ideas is still not very popular, or rather, not done the right way in a number of places. It's more often, as you
Yeah.
said, a venue for ripping apart ideas, or a venue for stealing ideas rather than anything. where you get a bunch of
Yes.
ideas at one single place, and then you just might as well make it a bit lucrative to those people, and then you end up just simply knowing you have the money, you just put it in.
Absolutely. In fact, good thing you brought up this incubator, because I have this one agreement still with me.
Okay.
So, when I was young, I made one mistake of not reading through the agreement line by line, and I signed it. And it turned out that I'd actually given 5% of the company to them.
Oh my.
So
Okay.
it was a
Wow. Okay.
it was a big learning for me in the beginning, where I made such a mistake. And since then, I had learned to read every single line of an agreement. Recently, we went to one of these startup incubator pitch places,
Yeah.
and I read through that agreement, and it said, as soon as you submit your business plan to us, it becomes our property. And
So
as soon
they
as I
take the
saw that,
IP of your, they take the IP of your entire.
absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. It's their, they take ownership. They can do whatever they want with it. They can share it with whoever they want. So, I read that, and straight away got concerned, and I said, look, I'm not going to sign this. Uh, and yeah, we had reached the final, or I think the almost semi-final stage of
Okay.
that competition.
Right.
And at that point, they were making us sign this, and I said, look, I'm not signing it. I don't care if we get to the final or not. I'm moving out of here. And that was again a decision I made. I just said, look, I'm not going to do this. We go out, and at home, everyone was asking me, what happened? Why didn't you do it? And I was trying to explain to them that this is not right. You can't just take control of my idea.
Correct. Oh my.
It's our property. It's our work that we have done.
Wow, interesting experiences. Uh, so now, this particular idea of, say, now you explain to us, why was the travel or something related to travel something at the back of your mind? Don't tell me anything that has got to do with what you wanted to become when you were a kid, because that I'm not going to tell right now. Forget that. But tell me about why travel industry, and then get us into Gainon.
Yeah, so I think travel industry as a starting point, because it was something I liked a lot
Okay.
from when I was young. I was generally more inclined and wanted to learn about this industry. I liked flying from UK to India, as we all do at least once a year. So, at that point, I used to pick up small things about how airlines are doing, what new features they are bringing, what new
Right.
movies are there. So, I
Okay.
think from a young age, I always had an interest in airlines. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to build something, I'll probably start where my passion is,
Okay.
with airlines. And that's, I think, really the only reason I went for it. And my
Okay.
idea also seemed to, start off there, because I knew that prices kept changing.
Yeah.
So that's really one thing. It wasn't an industry I liked. And second, it had a problem that I wanted to solve. So that was the reason why we really started as airlines as the base.
Wow. Interesting. So, in terms of, so you explained some things about the challenges which you faced during your, when you were actually putting those ideas. Tell me, in terms of systems, in terms of processes, in terms of government regulations or country regulations, what has your experience been in India?
Uh, I think India is definitely different to UK. UK, you can probably set up a company in I think under a day. You
Wow.
you go to company's house, you enter your name, that's it. It's done. It's ready. In India, it's a much longer process. You have to go through. Uh, you have to go to a CA. You have to ask them about names. You have to even select a name. They don't allow you to just enter any name. It has to go through a screening process, and a lot of times they reject it. So it's definitely a longer process, even when you're starting off a company.
Okay.
Then comes the compliance. You have to have at least 1 lakh rupees of capital ready,
Right.
because that's the minimum share capital you have to put out.
Okay.
Then the third thing is that when you're becoming a director, you have to generate a DIN. It's a director identification number.
Okay.
So you can't just go about and say, I've got an Aadhaar card or I've got a PAN card and become a director. You have to get a DIN, which is again another process that you have to go through. Uh, then there is more screening, and you have to, it's a very long. There's a DSC. There's a lot of things that happen. So starting up a company itself is so expensive. It takes 1 month, and it takes about 2 lakh rupees of money out of your pocket. So it's definitely an expensive. If you would like, an expensive activity,
Activity.
if you're starting out.
Yeah. Did this ever
And I think it,
discourage you
it
in
does
any
take
manner?
long. In fact, it didn't. I What I did was, because I was in UK at that point, and
Hmm.
if I wanted to become a director, it would take about 3 to 4 weeks longer. So I told my mama and mami in
Hmm.
India,
Okay.
I said, you two become directors and start the company for me.
Okay.
Right? You're just namesake directors right now, and I'll run the company from
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So rather than being discouraged, I just found a way around it.
Okay. Pretty interesting.
And then eventually, when it started to grow, I said, I'll take up the shares, I'll take
Right.
up the directorship. So they started the company, and I just came along.
Awesome. So, what is Gainon? Let us tell us a bit about it. Tell us what does it do? How does it help people back in India? What can people look forward to from Gainon?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Gain On, as you introduced in the initial introduction, it's really about loyalty and reward points. If you look at, I'm sure you've been part of some loyalty and reward points yourself. There was a lot of broken experiences overall in this industry.
Hmm.
So again, I'll go back to an airline example. When I used to travel from UK to India, every year the airline used to give us some miles,
Correct. Yeah.
and it used to feel really good when we earned them, like 5,000, 6,000 miles. When we actually looked at how much it was worth, it was probably £5 or
Correct.
£10. Right?
Yeah.
So we couldn't really make anything out of it because we simply didn't have enough, or they would expire by the next time we flew. So overall, this so-called loyalty program was not encouraging us to be loyal to any brand.
Right.
So I thought, this is a problem that I'm facing. I started exploring it with other people. It turns out that, according to stats, 96% of people want brands to find a new way to reward them.
Okay.
So it was definitely a problem that a lot of people were facing. And at that point, we really decided, okay, let's go in with a consumer first approach. What would I like to have in a loyalty program? What would I like to have as a customer?
Okay.
I want to have instant rewards. Every time I pay, I want to earn something, and I want to know how much I've earned, and I want to be able to use it wherever I want.
Correct.
So taking these three key ideas, we actually built a product that allows members, I should say, earn instant cash rewards every time they make a payment at over 100 of the most leading and loved brands in India. So no matter if you're buying groceries or you're traveling in an Uber,
Okay.
or if you're doing online shopping with Flipkart, you'll always be able to earn back some amount of your purchase,
Okay.
and that can be again be used as you want, because it's cash in the end,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's a really liquid experience. So uh, that we are really building to ensure that a member or a person is recognized throughout society, not just for one flight from Mumbai to Pune, right? You should be known for who you are, no
True.
matter if you're flying with an airline or you're buying something from Flipkart or Mintra.
Okay.
So eventually, that's what we are trying to build, a unified system that brands are able to find the right customers, and customers are able to really be rewarded for their purchases.
Okay. So this is, I
Yeah,
presume, the interface currently of Gain.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we just had a new UI revamp. So as you can see, it's completely different. I know you have
Yeah.
tried it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your
No, no, most welcome.
purchases as well. So this is the new interface, making it much more cleaner and easier for people to understand.
Okay.
And as you can see, it's pretty small right now, but
Yeah.
you'll see there's a Baskin Robbins purchase that's being made, and you're earning on it,
Okay.
right? So they
Now,
they
tell me,
spent 100 rupees, they earn
were
12
brands
rupees back.
open to such associations rather than looking at their own loyalty schemes? Were they quite open to such partnerships?
So I think brands initially, they don't take it as a loyalty solution themselves. They take
Hmm.
it as a platform that offers them good way to convert customers, right?
Okay.
For them, it's a cheap, or I won't really say cheap, but a nice way to get traffic onto their platform or into their shops,
Hmm.
right? Because we don't charge them maybe like a Facebook does. As with a Facebook, you'll have to put some money up front, or you'll have to add a credit card,
Correct.
right? um, and then it will keep charging you every time people see the offer, whereas we go in and say, look, we don't earn until a customer actually pays. So that's it. You don't
Okay.
have to pay anything if the customer doesn't transact with you. But if they do, we get some amount of that purchase, and then we build a loyalty solution around it.
Okay.
So for brands, they just see it as a you can say a marketing platform where
Okay.
I'm getting customers. I'm not being charged if nothing happens. If they get me a paying customer, then fair enough. I'll give you some part of the purchase.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's really a view. It's a perspective, I would say, how you look at it. And for brands, it's more of having the best acquisition method for the
Mm-hmm.
cheapest.
Okay. So just could you briefly tell us what is the customer journey on your particular, on your app or on your portal? How does it work?
Yeah, so you would have to come onto our platform. Now, as soon as you enter, you'll see on the homepage there's a bunch of logos uh, and brands that are in front of you,
Okay.
and you just have to select the place that you're paying, whether it be Flipkart or Mintra. You just select on the logo,
Mm-hmm.
click on Pay here. That's the button that comes up,
Okay.
and enter the amount you're paying. Right,
Okay.
and that's really it. All you have to do is come onto the platform first, enter the amount you're paying, and you can continue with whatever payment method you were doing initially, whether it be
Okay.
credit card, debit card, net banking. We don't restrict you there. You can use anything, complete the payment, right, and you would be given a voucher
Mm-hmm.
with credit, the brand credit.
Okay.
So essentially, all you have to do is show this voucher when you're making the purchase in the store to one of the staff,
Okay.
or if you're on an online brand, you'll have to copy and paste it into
Correct.
the coupon section.
Okay.
That's all you have to do. That's the only thing that's different.
Hmm. It's pretty
But at the
interesting.
end, you will always keep earning back some amount. So whether it be 5%, 10%, even it goes up to 50% on
Right.
certain things.
Okay. I presume these are the negotiations with the brands at various places to what kind of percentages do you offer for in terms of cashback, etc.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is individual with each brand, and
Okay.
according to them, what, of course, some of them put restrictions on how much we can give to people as well. They
Understandable.
say you can't go above 5%. So yeah, it's individual with each brand.
Okay, I think I possibly missed one of the images if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this is the kind of
Yeah,
yeah. So these are some of the brands which, if I can read them out, I think there is Myntra, there is Puma there. As of now, there is KFC, there is Pizza Hut, Baskin Robbins. I've missed one, I think. Yeah. So yep, quite a few, quite a
book my
large.
show as well.
Yep, I'm sure. I think. Oh yeah, from that now, from because you said book my show. What is the impact of COVID right now on all this? What has happened?
COVID definitely has had an impact because people overall have stopped consuming, right? So
Right.
they used to go out at least once a week. That's what we found. Go for a movie or go for one dinner.
Yep.
Uh, Eventually, when the lockdown came along, everything stopped. No more transactions happening, and people losing all confidence, right? And everything moved online. They were sort of moving to big baskets, the grofers, getting things delivered home.
Yeah.
So I think definitely what COVID did was shut down a bunch of our, I would say, majority of the brands that we had. As you can see, most of them are in shopping malls, or they're
Yeah.
going out to movies,
Correct.
enjoying entertainment, I would say,
Yeah.
not enjoying. So I think we had a shift. We had a shift of interest, and we moved more towards online brands, getting them like Big
Okay.
Basket, Grofers, and then trying to really fulfill all of the essential requirements of customers. So I
Right.
think at that point we moved away from the offline to online and try to build on that.
Okay.
So if you will see now, we have a couple of options like Grofers, Big Basket was there, it will come soon.
Okay.
NetMeds would be there,
Okay.
Apollo Pharmacy would be there. So helping you with what you'd require in such situations.
Correct. Yeah, because both things change here. I mean, one is what the consumer is consuming, so the consumption patterns, and the other is what is the
Yeah,
customer now spending on. So even if you were to give a voucher now, so if a voucher was valid for an Uber ride, for example, at the other end, now
yeah,
nobody's traveling. So what do you give him her or him the voucher for? Nobody's going out for a
a-
movie. What do you really do? So those, I presume, you
absolutely.
would have had to work on both sides of the spectrum and see what does the consumer really want.
Yeah, I mean, there was two sides to it. The ones that were not working were ready to give more discounts. So,
Hmm.
that was lucrative from one end. But of course, the logical mind would say, no one is going to use it.
Yeah.
So, uh,
Hmm.
normally what happens, if you agree upon a discount, you have to agree the volumes as well, right? We
Yes.
have to say we'll drive certain amount of volumes to you.
Correct.
So we didn't want to get into that trap right now, because we didn't know how people would react.
True.
So took a more pragmatic approach and said, if it's an online brand that people need right now, essential brands, then that's what we onboard,
Okay.
because we were quite confident that if it's something we use daily or weekly, it's something we can definitely
Okay.
grow traffic to.
What, in your view, is the way the complete industry of loyalty programs will go? Which way will it go? How do you see it evolving?
I think loyalty has evolved in itself. Before, loyalty was about repeating a habit, right? If I make a payment at a brand, it's about, okay, can I get him to do it again?
Yeah.
Now, as consumers, we have so many options. You can go in a Ola, you can go in a Uber, you can go in a Go Ibibo taxi. Endless options to us. So
Correct.
now we decide what fits into our lifestyle. Is it a Mintra? Is it or is it a Tata Click? So I think now it's completely shifted, and it's about fitting into a lifestyle. So I think that's definitely a big change. And
Okay.
now brands need to really go deeper into understanding micro segments. Before, we were all good enough and say my target audience is someone between the age of 18 and 35. He's male, he uses a credit card.
Yeah.
Great. But now there's micro segments. Is he in IT? Is he doing engineering? Is he a sports person? So understanding those micro segments, who your end customer really is, and probably reaching them with better offers would be better, or would give you better results in the end. So I think loyalty is going in one way, which is just understanding the consumer better and
Hmm.
as much as possible.
True.
So whoever does that will eventually earn that loyalty from
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's time that people consolidate. They come into one platform,
Hmm.
one sort of intelligence, and then try and use it to build loyalty.
Correct. And I think there is somebody else also who's mentioned, and I was coming to a similar point. Reminds me of Quidco in the UK. Good that we have this in India too. I think that is Edible Chatter who is saying that. And I think possibly,
Yeah.
yes. So as a marketer myself, where I handle a money transfer brand, that is how we look at even our evolving consumers today too. And I have a very strong opinion that I think it's gone are the days when customers would stay loyal to a brand. The brands now have to become loyal to the customers and make sure that they actually keep those customers with them with whatever they can. And aggregators is one way of
Absolutely.
doing that, because where else would a customer actually get the whole choice to himself or herself at one platform?
Absolutely. And if a brand is able to better predict the future, then they're more likely to convert. If I was able to tell, for example, a brand that this customer is going to be able to spend, say, 5,000 rupees with you at least once a month,
Yeah,
and he enjoys an offer that is 10% on average. He doesn't transact with anything less than 10%. You already know what to give to that customer, and you know the
absolutely.
value that you can get from that customer.
Correct.
So I think definitely, yeah.
Nice, very interesting. So, for you, what is? I'm going to ask you two different questions. One is, for you, what is success, and the other is, when are you satisfied with whatever you're doing?
That's a good question. That's a good question. So for me, it's really difficult to say that success is, for me, of course, progressing with everything that we are doing in Gainon, because in the end there can be different types of success. You can be financially successful, where your company works, this you get a good exit, or you're going into a public market, so that's a financial success. Then there's success of overall you as a person growing, right? And I think that's what's very important with entrepreneurs. Even if your idea in the end doesn't work out,
Yeah,
right, you would still have been successful in growing yourself in ways that probably nothing else could have grown you. because when you're starting out, you are almost responsible for everything. You are the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the CMO, you're the CTO. You have to handle everything. You have to learn from every aspect, and make sure that it's working. Or
Correct.
at times, even you're the customer service guy. I'm the customer service guy as well. So, you are at every level of the organization. So I think the amount of learning it gives you is definitely a success.
Okay.
You will be better equipped no matter what you do going forward, whether it's a job that you take up or you try and build another company. So, definitely, I think for me, success is just not staying still. So, I think every day that I move forward is me moving towards my success.
Very well said.
Second thing, sorry, what was the
No,
second point you said?
I said, what gives you satisfaction? So when I'm currently saying it is
Uh,
for gain on, I mean, what would you say at the end of the day? Okay, this has been a satisfying day for me. What is that for you?
for me, a satisfying day is somewhere I faced a problem. Because now I've got to a point where if there's no problem, there's something wrong, right? Then I feel a bit lost. What's wrong? Why am I not getting a problem? So as long as I'm solving something, learning new
Yeah,
something every day, again, that is quite satisfying.
correct.
The minute that stops, it for me, it's a sign that something's not right.
Okay. Do you see yourself? I mean, this is kind of me asking your future plans, but not really. I'm saying, do you see yourself restricted, not restricted, but limited to gain on, or do you think you will pick on something else too? Will your mind wander into something different too?
I mean, that probably is something time would tell.
Okay.
But personally, I think, look, Gain On is going to be part of my life for sure going
Okay.
forward. Now we've recently launched an investment round, so we've got lot of people putting interest in.
Okay.
Met some incredible people, some of my mentors. So Jay Tehsildar from Ompeg has been my mentor for over 4 years.
Awesome.
He's introduced me to some of the most business leaders in India. So Dhananjay Mungre sir, who is the chairman at Mahindra and Mahindra Finance. And, meeting those kind of people who
Correct.
will support you throughout the journey is very important. Uh, and I think definitely it's going to be part of my life. Now, how long this span goes on is something only time would tell. If eventually we get to a point where it has to exit,
Yeah.
then we move into something new. And of course, I'll take all my learnings into that.
True, true. And he used the word lifetime right now. So let me tell everybody, lifetime for him currently, he started it of all this at age 16 and is currently 21, going to turn on to 22. So that's his lifetime, okay, right now. And we are all people who are watching, we're all about 40s and all. So just put it in the relative sense. Tell me, and this is going to be a bit of a gyan kind of a question. Anybody who wants to get on to doing something of their own, irrespective of their age, what are your 2 or 3 points for them? I'm not going to say give them some global gyan, but what three things they should watch out for, or should they be always be doing?
Yeah, so definitely, if I was to go back to maybe a 16-year-old myself, I would first of all say that don't get disheartened if people tell you it won't work, because it's part of it. You have to pick yourself up and say, okay, and take it as a challenge, right? Okay, he said this is wrong with my company. How can I fix it?
Yeah,
So I think definitely don't get disheartened if people initially say, okay, it won't work. Second thing, definitely find a mentor who's been there, because
so
the
true.
kind of contacts they give you and the kind of guidance they also give you, avoiding the wrong people, as I said before, is very
Yeah,
important. And uh, just putting you on the right path. They'll just show you the path, and you have to sort of walk on it. Right? They won't take you through it. So
correct.
that guidance and direction itself is quite important. And I think those are the two things I would say. If you want to start off on your own, of course, that you find a mentor and don't get disheartened at any point. Just keep going, because things progress, and what you start off with will be very different to what you eventually end up with. And that's a very well known thing in the startup ecosystem.
Correct. Brilliant. I see. So I'll finally say that I see two very proud parents who have been whose comments I see here. So what I did not mention at the
Absolutely.
beginning of the session is Pranav is the son of Preeti and Rajesh, My UK Kitchen and Dev Rao on Instagram. And just as those two people are inspiring to a lot of us, this is another member of their family who is equally inspiring. And I'm sure there are many people, and see, I can see the comments here. There is Shuchi, there is Preeta, who are really saying that yeah,
Yeah.
it's very inspiring for them. But I think at the back of
Yeah.
that
Thank you.
inspiration,
Thank you.
it's your entire journey of hard work and perseverance. I for myself do not know how I would have reacted to somebody ripping apart an idea of mine in an open forum, and what kind of a reaction would I have given to that? Would somebody be disheartened? Would somebody? And I think that is where mentors come in. Your mentors will be able to stand by you and tell you to filter out what is to be taken in and not to be taken in. So brilliant, and I
Absolutely.
think I like the point where you mentioned you are not comfortable when there is no problem. If there is a problem, there is something which there needs to be problem to solve. Otherwise, it's like, oh god, this is too much of auto thing which is going on. I think there's something
Absolutely.
brewing at the back of it completely, and maybe it will blow on something. But it's nice. It's really nice to see you so well invested into all this. We wish you all the
Thank you.
best
Thank you.
for all the future endeavors, whether it is Gainon, whether it is. I would advise people to please check out Gainon.in. That's the website. I think there is an app too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So actually, we've not got an app, but
Yet.
our
Okay.
website
Okay.
converts into an app itself.
Oh
So
yes, understood.
it's
Yeah, it's a totally
it's
mobile
something that
friendly
we've
thing, so
done.
it just can converts. Perfect.
Correct, correct, correct. And for all watching, in case you do want to make payments from Gainon, which I of course would encourage you to do, there is also a promo code that I'm adding today. It's called Insta.
So
So
I
if
will
you
just so
add
that
that,
yeah.
yeah, as it said, add in white code Insta, and if you do that, you'll get an extra bonus from our end as a
Perfect.
thank you.
Awesome. No, this is brilliant. And thank you so much, Pranav. It was really very nice speaking to you. We hope that whatever you take on, whatever you start, whatever you continue with your current endeavor, always leads to success and problems, so that you don't worry about too much. Problems which are
Yeah,
solvable, and which I presume you will get innovative solutions to all those things. So thank you so much, and it's been great speaking to
thank
you.
you so much. Thank you for giving the opportunity once again, and absolutely, thank you for from all of us, and look forward to many more. And
Thank
good
you.
luck to your sessions as well. It's coming on along well.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Take care.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. So that was Pranav. I do not know. I'm at a lot of loss of words as to how the entire journey starts at what an age, and how it continues into uh, still at a very young age, and still much more to do. I hope it acts as an inspiration to a lot of people. If you want to reach out to Pranav, please reach out through this Instagram handle of Gainon. I'm sure he'll be glad to speak to anybody who wishes to start something on their own. So this has been a very interesting experience for me, and I guess proud parents, rightly so, correct. That's right, Pooja. I can so, and yes, Sachin. Thank you for the wishes to him. Definitely, I think all the wishes from everybody here who is listening in to Pranav and to all his ventures which he may undertake. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Thank you to each one of you for watching in, once again, spending 1 hour of your Sunday with me. This is Amit Sangekar signing off from yet another session of Beyond Reading with You. Take care.